Which one is more difficult, do you think? Winning at chess or painting realistically with pastel pencils? I think this one. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about 10 most common mistakes that we make when we are making portraits with pastels. As my reference photo, I chose Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Beth Harmon character in Netflix series Queen's Gambit. If you haven't watched that series yet, I highly recommend it. I actually learned this Queen's Gambit opening from them. If you want to show your support, subscribing to this channel is enough for me. You can also visit my Patreon at patreon.com/Ece Gurler. If you are ready, let's look at the 10 most common mistakes now. Not doing the background first. With pencil work, we prefer to do the background last, but with pastels, it is easier to do the background first so that the background dust wouldn't ruin your painting. Also, you can add the hair details much more easily. Not thinking about whites in advance. Not for this portrait particularly, but if you are drawing gray hair or white animal fur, you need to think in advance and use an off-white or light gray base so that your white pencil strokes on them will show. Deciding on your pen pastel and pastel pencil colors in advance saves you time and stress level. I usually use a PowerPoint slide. I insert the photo that I'm going to draw, and then I create some circles around the face and the hair. I fill in those circles with the help of eyedropping tool so that I know exactly which colors I'm going to use. I highly recommend this method to you. I'm not going to lie, it takes time to prep, but it is going to be worth it. Not making enough application, meaning not putting enough pigment or dust on your pastel paper. So what happens if we don't put enough pigment on? This would cause some dull colors instead of full bright ones. After you make sure that you put enough pastels to cover the whole paper, add 1 or 2 more layers on top of it. Once your layers are ready, then you can blend them with blending tools, which are made of sponges, or you can blend them with a cotton tip. Sharpening the pastel pencils is not a mistake per se, but it is not recommended. As you know, we have to work with sharpened pencils with charcoal or colored pencil drawings, but with pastels, if you keep sharpening, you will eat away your expensive pastel core. By the way, here I want to give you 2 tips. The first tip is that if you want to add a lighter color on a darker base, but it is not showing well, then my advice is to draw with white or off-white first and going over the same lines with your lighter color later. Like how I do here. I applied yellow on top of white so that the yellow showed much better on this dark brown hair. Another tip I have is about how we blend hair with a Q-tip. Of course, we follow the hair growth direction, but also for the roots, I don't blend too much. I literally tap my cotton swab there and lift it. That's it. Also, don't forget to blend from lighter to darker instead of darker to lighter, because otherwise you can get your light areas dark by mistake. Another mistake we make is forgetting that our sketch will be gone once we started drawing. What happened to me here is I started drawing the eyebrow and I realized my sketch was completely gone. So what I did was looking at the reference photo constantly and trying to find some reference points, like where the ear started, where the eye started and ended, where the hair is in reference to the eyebrow. That's how we can actually draw without a sketch. Not mixing colors for the face. Our face has many colors for the observer. Yes, we have our natural skin tone, but then we have shadows too, and different colors of glazes because our skin reflects the color of our surroundings. Finding the right color might be challenging and might require mixing different colors. So my advice is to mix them on a separate paper first. Then you can apply the mixture on your painting without being afraid. But make sure that this extra paper doesn't have much tooth, otherwise it will eat away your pastel. Using black for the areas of the shadow or other parts of the face is another mistake. We shouldn't use black alone. I'm not saying we shouldn't black at all, but we have to mix it with other colors. So for example, here in the moth line, I started with black and then I went over it with dark red. Also, if you notice that the eyelashes are also black, but I mixed them with dark brown. If you use black alone, it's going to, how can I say, make your painting look flat and it's going to lose its depth. The only places I used black in this portrait was of obviously the background and the shadow on the hair and the pupils. Not watching where your hand goes. Pastel is dirty work. I was about to blend all her face when I stopped and realized my fingers were black. Can you imagine if I did that without noticing this? Disaster. Make sure you clean your hands frequently and you don't smudge your pastel. Just like here, I smudged some black on green. You can stop that from happening by simply putting a paper or paper towel under your drawing hand. The paper choice. Paper choice is really important. I know art supplies can be really expensive sometimes and you might be on a budget. But when it comes to pastels, it really matters. The quality of the paper really matters. I'm using Clairefontaine and I'm so happy with it because it gives the smoothest results and also I can add as many layers as I want to. I used to use cheap, most commonly found pastel mats like Metonde, but in the cheaper papers, I didn't get the smooth result I got from Clairefontaine. The tooth of the paper was showing no matter how much pastel I applied, and after a few layers, it will be impossible to add more. Pastel is the most forgiving medium I have ever worked with. You can easily correct any mistakes. Even you can add the lightest layer on black. Let me show you how. Here I thought the cheekbone needed some more work, so on that black spot, I added the beige, the skin tone, and I blended it. After adding multiple layers of the same color, you see that we have a perfect skin color, and I just drew it on black. Can't even tell there was black underneath. This is the power of pastels. If you are using a white pastel mat, my suggestion is please be careful that dust doesn't get into the frame because it is really hard to erase, and just like I did here, it's not going to look very nice. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. I will see you in my next video. Bye! Thanks for watching my video. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe. And for my real-time narrated tutorials, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/Ece Gurler. Stay with art and love.